Y'all see that dog right there? His name is Hades. He lives across the street. That dog just ate better this morning than I have all week. I fed him lasagna. He bites other people but loves me to death for some reason. I think he's just a horrible judge of character. He's the sweetest dog ever. Neighbors call me the co-owner because he likes to come over here so much. He uses me for food, but it gives me love at the same time, so I love him back. I think we're soulmates. All right. Good morning, folks. Today is Monday, January 27th, 2025. Yours truly is on the way to pick up a television from my crab sister, Felicia, that was given to me by my crab niece, Kelly. The television mostly quit working, and Kelly, knowing that sometimes I can repair these things, asked me if I wanted it because they were going to buy a new one, and I said, why, hell yeah. So Kelly took it to her mother Felicia's house last night, and Felicia acted like she was putting a puzzle together and got the giggles trying to get this television in the trunk of her car because it would barely fit, but she managed to do it. So I'm sure I'll get the giggles trying to get the television out of her car this morning, but I'm on my way to get that now. So I slapped on my Sasquatch toboggan. Speaking of which, if you plan to wear a toboggan, does that mean you plan to tobog? I don't know. And if I wear a toboggan, does that mean I am tobogganing? Oh well, things that make you go, Anywho, it is a brisk 50 degrees outside this morning. That's a lot better than it has been in Florida the last couple days. No more ice on the ground, no more ice on my truck. And I'll take it. I don't like that situation. But I got up this morning and I fed that dog y'all seen in this video a little earlier, Hades, my baby. Fed him some lasagna, mixed in with some dog food, and he tore that stuff up. Couldn't even eat it all. There was so much of it there. And he'll come back for it and finish it up before the day's over with. But I fed him, hopped in my ride, and I'm on my way to see my crab sister now. Is that red car hers? I don't know what. She got a new car, I think. I think that is her car. Smells like a crab. Is that her back there leaned over in the bushes? I think it is. I don't know if that's her or not. Turn this camera off because there's a lady over here getting sick. All right, y'all. I have picked up the TV. And I turned the camera off because when I pulled in, there was a lady just puking her guts out over here in the side of the woods. And I wanted to make sure she was okay. Got the TV in the back. And we are going to go make a stop by the trash. I can perform my husbandly duties this morning and take the trash off, and then we're going home, and I'm going to set this TV up in the shop, see if we can't fix it. All right. TV, you gonna ride okay back there? All right, you are okay. All right then. Get that in there a little better, I think, when I stop at the dump. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I'm about to show y'all how easy it is to repair some of these TVs, I do believe. All right, putting the camera down so we can drive to the house and unload this TV and repair it. Good morning, everyone. Today we have another television we're going to try to repair. This is another Hisense TV. The last Hisense TV I repaired is right there. She's still working. This is, I believe, the exact same model. I don't know where the model number even is right there. We're gonna take this television apart. I gotta pull the LEDs off the back. Actually, I don't have to. I forgot I can take off just that center plastic piece right there. Just that square comes off, and I'll be able to get to the board and see what I believe is the problem. It's probably gonna be the exact same thing as the last one. Oh, I wanted to show you first what this television does. Let's see if this remote from my other TV controls this one. Oh, it does. So you see how that TV comes on and blinks right back off? I'm going to go ahead and unplug the power. Yeah, same exact symptoms as my last one. So I've unplugged the television. If this is happening to your TV, I can't stress enough, go ahead and unplug your TV and don't turn it back on. As long as you do that, you probably can repair your own television just like you're fixing to see me do this one. And then it'll work fine after that. And this repair costs barely anything. Unplug your television before you do this, folks. Please do not do this repair without unplugging your television first. There is dangerous voltage in these televisions, and you can get the jolt of your life, or actually you can get the jolt of your death. I don't want that to happen to you, so please unplug your television before you try this. I would actually encourage you to take it to a professional to have this done if you do not have electronic repair experience. I've been doing this for years, which doesn't mean I can't make a boo-boo. But if you've never tried it before, I would really want you to be safe. Peel the LEDs off, strip off the bottom here. So I get this out, make sure all the screws are out. I believe that's all of them. Alright, that should be enough. Did I miss one? There could be a screw on the bottom. Let me look for that real quick. I don't remember if there is or not. Must be. I can't remember. Yep, this television does have the problem I was expecting. I'll show you in just a moment. Once I get this piece off. Okay, so now you're looking at the main board of this television. And if you look, let me bring you in a little closer. The pieces causing the problem are right here. I'm going to show you an angle like this. You see how they bulge out on the very tip? They're not flat like these are. These are perfectly flat. Those are not. They're bulging out. Those are the problem. So all you need to do is replace those two caps with two that are exactly like it. These two pieces right here. Very, very cheap parts. Give me just a moment. I'm going to pull this entire board out, and I'll show you the removal and reinstallation of those two caps and the removal and reinstallation of this board, and then we'll turn the TV on and see if it decides to work perfectly after this. There are a couple little wires we need to remove. So you do yourself a good favor to have a tiny flathead screwdriver, maybe a pair of tweezers. First thing I'm going to do is unhook the AC from the board. Just got a little push clip. Pull that off. There's another little clip here, another little clip here, and then one here. This little black tab just flips up, and this cable will come right off. There's one wire up here that you just push in and wiggle it off there, and that's it. All of the wires are now loose from the board. I can go ahead and unscrew this board and take it off. This board has, looks like 4, maybe 5 screws. I can't remember. 1. 2, 3, and 4. Bottom corner. 5 total. One more right here. I'll show you where these are located in just a moment. They all have a white circle around them, so you know where those screws have to come out of and where they go back. There's one here, one here, one here, one right there, and one in this corner should come off now. Let's see. Yep, that's all there is to it. Now we have the main board for the TV, and if you look, make this focus here. All right, there's some information on the side of these caps. That information is what you're going to have to know. There's what we want to know. Okay, let me turn this around a different way. If you look on the caps, all capacitors are going to have information like this. See where it says 10UF at 350 volts, I believe that is. You need a 350 volt capacitor at 10 UF or a little bit higher. The UF rating can be a little higher, but not much. So let's say you had a 350 volt cap, 20 UF, that would be okay. But 350 volts, it has to be the same voltage. You also need to know the size of these caps, because you can't put a cap twice the size back in the same spot. So I found my micrometer, and what you want to know is how wide are these caps. You want to get the same exact thing. So that cap, if you look at the micrometer, is about 10 millimeters wide and roughly, I'm saying roughly 10 millimeters wide by about 12 millimeters tall, 10 millimeters tall, somewhere in that area. You want a capacitor roughly that same size, and you definitely want the same voltage rating. So the question is going to be, do I have any caps that are, what I say these were? They are 10 UF, 350 volts, and I need 2 of them. So let me look through my capacitors for just a moment. I do have some. All right. Normally, when I buy caps, they're so cheap, I buy more than what I need. Now these caps, they're significantly, not significantly bigger, but they're a little bigger. I'll be able to make these work, but look at the difference in these. I'll be able to get 2 of them side by side right there, but these caps are the same, they're the same rating, 350 volt, 10 UF. Got 2 of them right there. Put these back. Give me just a moment to get set up. Make sure you guys can see. Make sure that I'm underneath. I'm going to zoom out some now because I want you guys to be able to see how I'm doing this. Turning my soldering iron on. I use a Weller soldering iron. Very, very good soldering iron. You can control the temperature very precisely, which is what you need when you're doing some soldering. Plug in the power for this thing. All right. My solder flux, my capacitors. I need a setup where I can actually see I can see where I can see what you see on the camera. But we're gonna make this work. Let me get my surface mount cutters. So what I'm gonna do, you see these little legs? Those are way too long. That's what sticks through the board, the circuit board. You don't need them that long. I've done this a lot, so I'm going to trim mine about that length. And now you can see that's the one I trimmed versus the one I have not trimmed. I'm going to cut the other one now to about the same length. I'll retrim these again. I'll trim them again once I get them installed, but for now that's all I need. Okay, I'm going to show you some tricks to make soldering so much easier for yourself. This is called solder flux, and you must coat the legs of the capacitor with this stuff. So I'm just going to put them in there, swirl them around, and now those legs have just a little bit of that solder on them. I'm going to do the other one. This pulls the solder down onto the legs of the cap, welding it into place, soldering it into place. So I have that one done as well. And now I can put this solder flux away. The soldering iron is heated up to 700 degrees now, so it's ready to go. We need to pull the old caps out first before we install the new ones, of course. One important thing to note, when you look at these caps, you see how one side has that stripe on it. There's not a stripe anywhere else on this cap other than on the side here. Those stripes are facing this black, well, I don't even know what that thing is, but they face the other blue caps. When you reinstall your new caps, it's very important that you make those stripes, I think that's the ground side, to make those go the same direction when you put the new caps in. You see how the new cap has a stripe only on one area? So when I put that new cap in, that stripe is going to face the same direction as the one that's coming out. And I'm not sure how well you guys are even being able to see this, so I apologize for that. I'm doing the best I can, but you got to figure out where the legs are for these caps. So these are the two caps we're taking out. So I know that the legs are here and here. That's the two sets I'm going to be uninstalling. So I'm going to zoom this camera in a little bit more. Let's make sure that I'm in the right area where you guys can see, and you can. Hopefully this will stay in focus. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to pull some solder down. Then I am going to add a little bit of solder to the tip of my iron. Before we do anything, I got to clean it first. I'm going to add some solder to it. Let's make sure you guys can see. Here and here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding a little bit of solder, and I'm pulling on the back side of this cap as I'm doing this. Just gentle pressure, heating it with a soldering iron, and it's gonna pop loose here in just a moment. This can be a little bit annoying to do. There you go. Now that one just came out. So now I'm going to go on the other leg. This time I'm going to push while I apply solder to that other leg. It's going to bust loose. Okay. Now one more time on that first leg I was on. There you go. That cap just flipped out. Let me show you that. This is the cap I just removed. This is the one I'm going to put in. Let's see if I can show you. This is the one that's swollen on the end. I don't know how well you're able to see that or if it's focused. And this is the new one that's flat. So I'm going to take that old one and lay it off to the side. Now, I got one more to take out. This is the one that just came out. You can see there's no legs. That cap's been removed. This is the one that's got to come out. That's the one that still has legs. So let me clean my soldering iron tip again. I'm going to add some more solder to it. Adding solder to what you want to take out seems a little counterintuitive, but boy, it sure makes it easier when you do it that way. All right, I'm applying. Let me make sure that you guys can see. Okay, now you can. All right, that leg is out. I'm doing the other leg now. This is hard to do where you guys can see and I can still film at the same time. Okay. Applying heat to that leg, and I'm pushing on the other side. And when that solder melts, this cap, there you go, it just pops right out. Now this leg is almost out. I'm going to apply more solder to it, and there you go, that cap is out. So now, on this board, where these caps used to be, sorry, let me get it where you can see, this is the area where those two new caps I'm about to put in go. You see how one side has the white stripes on it? That's telling you where the stripes, the new caps are going to go. So what I'm going to do when you put these back in, I'm just going to line the two legs up, and then I'm going to turn this board over very gently, trying to keep those. I'm just kind of holding that cap there. Oh, this is not easy to do sometimes, so just bear with me. I'm trying to film this at the same time. Okay. There are a lot of videos you can watch for soldering. Okay, now you can see that I'm just kind of holding those legs right there in the holes where they go. You see how I got those legs? I stuck them gently in those holes. Be careful, don't put too much pressure or you'll bend the cap. Now I'm holding pressure. I'm going to clean the tip of the soldering iron again, soldering iron, add some new solder, and I'm going to apply heat to one of the holes. I'm going to wiggle that leg in, then I'm going to apply heat to the other hole, wiggle that leg in. All right, now I'm going to stop where I'm at and just show you I no longer have to hold on to that cap. but you see the legs, they don't come all the way through. So I'm going to keep applying heat to each one of those, and I'm going to wiggle that cap into place. So give me just a moment. Clean the tip of my soldering iron, get a little bit of fresh solder, and now let's wiggle this cap the rest of the way in. All right, just do one leg, then the other leg, go back to the first leg, go back to the second leg, and just keep doing that until you get that cap all the way down on the board, like that right there. Now let me show you the cap. Now you'll notice is all the way down on that board. These legs on the other side, we're going to snip them off with the surface mount cutters as close as we can get to that board. So let me show you that being done. We'll make sure you guys can see, and you can. So I'm just going to snip off one leg. I'm going to snip off the other leg, and those two metal pieces, those two little metal legs, they're now down on the desk here. You do not want those metal legs to stay on the board because they'll short something out. Make sure you find both of those pieces, throw them in the trash. Let me do that real quick so that I know that neither one of these are on my board anywhere. Now we got to put the last cap on. So being sure that I get the stripe in the right direction, I'm going to take these two legs, I'm going to line them up with the holes on that one side. And I'm just going to gently hold some pressure. And like I said, this can be annoying to do if it's the first time you've ever done it. I've done this a lot, so I know what to do. Get this where you can see it. So I'm holding pressure with my thumb, and the cap is, the two legs are in the holes already as far as they'll go. They won't go very far, but I make sure they both are touching the hole. And I make sure the stripe's in the right direction. Now I'm going to clean my soldering iron tip. I'm going to apply some fresh solder to the tip. And we're going to apply some heat to that hole. First leg walked in, second leg walked in. Now I'm just going to go one, back and forth, until I get that cap as far down on this board as it can go. And that's about, because these caps, they're not the right size as far as the width. They're a little bit too thick, but it's as good as I can get it. So now I'm going to cut those legs off with my surface mount cutters. This is cutting the legs off with the surface mount cutters is not a step you can skip, okay? Reason for this is if those legs touch anything metal in the back of this television, when you turn it on, you're gonna tear up your TV, start a fire, possibly shock the tar out of yourself, you know, all that good stuff. So now let me turn my soldering iron off, put this up where I don't bump that 700-degree soldering iron. I'm gonna show you both new caps are installed. Now you see how this one, it's going to stick up just a little bit farther than the other one. And I mean a little bit. It's so close it isn't funny. But both legs are cut off, and they're actually cut off shorter than what the factory did. But they're cut off, the caps are installed, both of the stripes are facing the blue caps, they're facing the correct direction. So we are now going to reinstall this power supply in the television and see if the television stays on. That repair took me, what, 2 or 3 minutes, and if I didn't have to film, I would have done that in about 45 seconds. So it doesn't take long to do this. Those caps cost less than $1. Give me a moment to set back up on my other area, and we'll see if the television works. I'm just going to turn off my light here. That's where I had my phone mounted a second ago. Let's bring the the board back over here. Set that down. Put you guys back in the tripod over here. And then I'm going to reinstall this board. Won't take very long. And we'll test this television out. So, all of your cables, you want to be sure you get the cables on this side of the board. You know, because you got to be able to hook all those things back up. So now I'm going to put one screw back into place. What do I got in the way here? Nothing? Okay. Okay, there she goes. She sit right back in place. Now I'm just going to take one of these screws and put it back in place to hold the board. This bottom one. I'm not going to tighten this first screw down all the way yet, because I still got to be able to put the rest of them in. So now I'm going to put a top one in. Now you remember me talking about you have to cut those legs so they don't touch anything metal. If you didn't cut those legs, you see this part of the TV right here? Those legs would touch it You do not want that to happen. Please be careful when you do this, folks. Cut those legs off those capacitors. Don't leave them long. Don't bend them. Cut them. Surface mount cutters at Harbor Freight cost $3. Very handy thing to have if you want to do this kind of stuff, this kind of repairs. And the thing about capacitors, these parts you saw me fix, they're in all electronics, just about everything. I have fixed televisions, stereos, VCRs. I fixed the brain box for a car one time for a guy, and that's what it was. I make a lot of money on the side doing this. It's very easy to do. The most aggravating part is carrying the TV and taking it apart. Okay, now we're going to hook the cables back up that we unhooked. All right, 1 cable back in place, 2 back in place, 3 back in place, 4, 5, 6 back in place, 2 caps changed out. Everything else looks beautiful. All right, give me just a moment to put the black plastic piece back where it's supposed to go. Screws back. Something to pay attention to. Some of these screws, when you pull them out, they have a fine thread. Like, I don't know if you can even see that, but this one on this screw is plastic. You see how those threads are coarse? And these threads right here are fine. They go in metal, so it's easy to tell which one of these goes back where. All right, so give me just a moment to put all these back in. Okay. Now, does she stay on? Now you remember before it would come on and flash right back off. Now it stays on. So 55-inch Hisense TV fixed, 2 capacitors in under 2 minutes for $1. So let's go look at menus. Let's see. Here. Boing, 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 boing. It was on, off, on, off, on, off. Now it's on all the time. I'm going to let this run for a few minutes, conducting a fire test. Yeah, she's fixed. All right, time to go move this TV inside and upload it. Get this video edited and uploaded. Turn the TV off. That's all there is to it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm trying to become monetized. Please click the like button. That really helps YouTubers out a lot. And I appreciate you. Y'all have a great day.
Human nature to grow as a species, as individuals. We can speak new languages, start new hobbies, even